Hello, welcome back to part 4 of the section about anti-differentiation. In this video, we're going to discuss the reverse chain rule. So it's easiest just to kind of derive some examples. First of all, suppose we want to differentiate the function ax plus b to the power of n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. What would that thing differentiate to? Well, when we differentiate, we should by the chain rule, we can actually sort of split this up into an inside function, which is the ax plus b, and then an outside function, which is like u to the power of n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. And then the chain rule says we should differentiate the outside function first, then differentiate the inside function and multiply them together. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's differentiate the outside function first. We bring the n plus 1 down. So n plus 1, and then we subtract 1 from the power, and observe that these n plus 1s will cancel because n plus 1 divided by n plus 1 is 1. But then we got to multiply by the derivative of the inside function. We got to multiply by the derivative of the inside function, and so we're going to end up multiplying by a, because the derivative of ax plus b is a. So what that just told us is that if y of x equals ax plus b to the power of n plus 1 divided by n plus 1, then y prime of x is equal to ax plus b to the power of n times a. Okay, so y prime of x is equal to ax plus b to the power of n times a. Now, suppose I want to find the antiderivative of ax plus b to the power of n. So the antiderivative of ax plus b to the power of n. Well, I know that the antiderivative of y prime of x dx is equal to a times the antiderivative of ax plus b to the power of n dx. I know this by the fact that anti-differentiation is linear, and that means I can just bring this a outside of the antiderivative sign. But I also know that this is equal to, so the antiderivative of y prime of x dx must be equal to y of x plus some constant, y of x plus some constant. In other words, a times the antiderivative of ax plus b to the power of n with respect to x is equal to y of x, so this thing here, plus some constant. So what do I do if I just want the antiderivative of ax plus b to the power of n? Well, I better divide both sides by a. And that's what I'll do. In short, when we are taking the antiderivative of ax plus b to the power of n, well, we need to divide by a, because when you differentiate some power of ax plus b, when you differentiate that, you're going to be multiplying by a due to the chain rule. So what we just derived was the following, and we'll call this the reverse chain rule. The antiderivative of ax plus b to the power of n with respect to x, you can actually pretty much just treat it like x to the power of n, except you have to divide by a at the end. So it's equal to 1 divided by a times ax plus b to the power of n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. And that's true for all n that are a real number, for every n that's a real number, except n does not equal -1. So n cannot be -1. Otherwise, it makes sense. We're dividing by 0 here if n's equal to -1. Okay, let's do a quick example. So let's, and I'll do what looks like a hard one. So the antiderivative of 1 divided by square root of 2x plus 3 dx. Well, this is square root 1 divided by square root of 2x plus 3. Well, square root is the same as to the power of a half. So what we've got is 1 divided by 2x plus 3 to the power of a half. But when you're dividing, it's the same as having a negative power. So this is equal to the antiderivative of 2x plus 3 to the power of negative a half. And now we're in a position to just use our reverse chain rule. So I had 2x plus 3 in here, so I'm going to be dividing by 2. And all I've got to do is add 1 to the power and divide by the new power. So what do I end up with? Well, this is equal to 2, well, I better divide by 2. So 1 divided by 2 times 2x plus 3. Now I've got to add 1 to the power. Negative a half plus 1 is positive a half. So it's 2x plus 3 to the power of positive a half. Divide by the new power. So divide by positive a half. And then I'm done. Plus a constant. Although I'd better tidy that up a bit. So we'll tidy it up from down here. So what is a half divided by a half? Well, they're just going to cancel, aren't they? So it's actually just 1 times 2x plus 3 to the power of a half plus c. And 2x plus 3 to the power of a half is just the square root of 2x plus 3. Because taking something to the power of 1 over n means the nth root of that thing. So the second root's a square root of that thing. So the antiderivative of 1 divided by 2x plus 3 actually turns out to be square root of 2x plus 3 plus an arbitrary constant. Alright, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the notes. Do those exercises at the back. The only way to learn math is to do math. If you're not going to do those exercises at the back, do some other exercises about anti-differentiation from some textbook. Just do some math, okay? See you guys later. Bye.